Hello, my name is Brittany Perez, and I am a student teaching candidate with Grand Canyon University. I am currently enrolled in course ECS 480B, and today I am recording myself doing a mock introductions IEP meeting. During this mock video, I will be going over team members that participate in IEP meetings, as well as some key points that we go over as a team during an IEP meeting. I do want to clarify that all names have been changed in order to keep confidentiality with those I am working with currently in my student teaching placement. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Good morning. My name is Brittany Perez. I am the special education RSP teacher here at Montera Elementary. I am also the case manager for this IEP meeting. I would like to state the purpose of this meeting. The meeting today is an IEP annual meeting that will go over the IEP that we have currently on file for Jane Darcy. Now I will go over who is present at our meeting and their purpose. First, we have our student, Jane Darcy. Due to the fact that she is under the age of 16, she is not required to come to the IEP meeting, and today she is not present. She was invited, but parents have decided that because she is under 16, she would be better served staying in class. Next, we have Jane's parents, Fitzwilliam and Elizabeth Darcy. They are here today to be key members in our IEP meeting. They offer a unique perspective on their child, Jane, and they also offer background information and can offer insight into Jane's weaknesses and strengths, and they can also offer support at home once we get through any additional goals or objectives that we have for Jane. Next, we have the general education teacher, and that is Mr. Knightley. He is going to serve the purpose of providing insight into Jane's background in the classroom. So that will include things like behavior, academic progression, and things like that. He will also offer up any examples of work that Jane has completed up until now in the school year. Next, we have our speech and language provider, our SLP provider, Miss Harriet Smith, and she is going to provide progression of goals in speech that Jane has progressed through, if she's met any of those goals, or if we need to add any new goals and objectives for her speech and language progression. Next, we have our vision service provider, and that is Miss Emma Woodhouse. She will provide also any progression of goals through her vision objectives, if we need to add any new goals, any new objectives, or any modifications to aid Jane in continual progression through those goals. Lastly, we have our local representative agency rep or the LEA, Mr. Bingley, who is also the school principal. They provide the schedule of this meeting. They provide carving time out for educators and service providers to come in and meet, and they also provide the discussion of any results or assessments that Jane has completed. So again, I would like to just go over again that today's meeting is an annual IEP meeting for Jane Darcy. We are going to look at her current goals and objectives and decide if we need to change things or modify things. Right now, I am going to pass out the signature page, and I ask that you please print your name and sign next to it. The signature page just represents that we have all checked into this meeting and are here and present today. Next, I want to review our agenda. Right now, I'm going to pass out a copy of the agenda for our meeting, so that way we can stay on task, and each service provider, parents, LEA, and special and general education teachers have a time slot and a place to provide input, ideas, and recommendations. This is also when I will pass out the parent rights and procedural safeguards. I will give them a hard copy in their native language or other mode of communication. Next, we will go over the present levels of academic achievement and functional performance for Jane Darcy. This portion of the IEP goes over the student's cognitive academic performance in ELA, reading, math, science, social studies, and fine arts where applicable. We will look at their strengths and in each of these areas that are applicable to Jane Darcy. Next, I would like to share Jane's current strengths that we are seeing, and this is a good time to go over those strengths and the personal growth that she has had for the last year, and any other information that pertains to growth through those objectives or goals on her current IEP. Next, we are going to allow for parent input. This is a really important time for parents to be able to give any type of input on their child's academic performance, their behaviors, or any concerns that they may have. This is also a great time, if this were an initial IEP, to gain some background information on the student, but being that this is an annual, we do have some of that background information, but we do allow for any additional information to be added to the IEP during this time from parents. Next, we are going to go over special factors. This is going to include any special factors that may impede learning for the student. This could include visual impairments, hearing impairments, behavior, communication needs, specialized formats, or educational materials. We will go over current special factors as well as if we need to add any special factors to Jane's IEP. Next, we are going to review the review of academic supporting data. This will include assessments in reading, writing, math. We will have teacher input, and being that Jane is in the second grade, we do not have state testing currently due to the fact that she is not in fit into the testing group. In the state of California, we start state testing in third grade. Jane is in second grade, so she is exempt from those state standardized tests. We do, however, have reading diagnostic tests that we will go over. We also have writing samples that Mr. Knightley, the general education teacher, has provided from Jane. We also have data for math, such as her iReady math diagnostics, that will be provided from both her general education and RSP teacher, myself. Lastly, we are going to go over some teacher input. This is a great time for Jane's general education teacher, Mr. Knightley, to go over any information that he feels that may need to be added into the IEP, or maybe modifications in the classroom, while also going over the student's progress in her academics and objectives and goals in the classroom, if this conversation has not occurred yet. We will go over teacher's input. Next, we are going to review functional data. This portion of the IEP will go over the student's behavior, attendance, and social skills. We can allow the LEA to go over attendance, and we will have the general education teacher go over student grades, behavior in the classroom, and social skills. Next, we have the summary of academic and functional strengths and needs. We will discuss current goals, student strengths, and then we will discuss these and see if we need to remove any of those objectives and goals or add new ones. And we will do this before we come up with any new goals and deciding if the current goals have been met. Next, we are going to go over goals and objectives. This is where we will add and go over any new goals and objectives that need to be added into Jane's IEP. Next, we will go over services, accommodations, modifications, and supports. The team is going to discuss current objectives and modifications and discuss any necessary changes or additions. They will also discuss new accommodations, modifications, and objectives that they feel need to be put into an IEP. This is a really good time for the team to really discuss those accommodations, modifications, and objectives that need to be placed into the IEP, either with current modifications and accommodations, or maybe taking some of those out and replacing them with new ones to fit the current needs of the student. Next, we are going to go over the extended school year services. As for Jane, the team has determined that Jane does not need extended school year services or EYS services at this time. She has shown no regression in her IEP goals or meeting those goals when not in school. So next, we will go over placement. This was where the team will decide if the current placement is the correct placement and if it needs to be continual placement in the same placement, or if we need to lessen the placement or change the placement altogether. Finally, to conclude the IEP meeting, we're going to ask parents to give any other concerns that they have, if they want things to be changed, if they don't agree with anything, and this is also a good time for any type of clarification that is needed amongst the team. Lastly, this is a great time to remind parents that once this IEP meeting is concluded, they will receive a copy of any paperwork, forms, or anything else like that, and will be sent home, and a great time to check in and make sure that their address of record is correct. To conclude this mock IEP, I wanted to talk a little bit about planning for conflicts. Planning for conflicts can be somewhat difficult because you don't exactly know the mind space that parents are coming in into these meetings. Parents are very emotionally driven to help their child, to support their child. So you, as the educator and team members of the IEP, it's important to make sure that those parents are seen and that they are heard. It's important for them to get a copy of the agenda. It's a great tool to use to provide them with written evidence that they have a time slot for their concerns, their questions, for clarification, for understanding and comprehension of what exactly is going on, and also for their rights. It's important to make sure that parents have that time so that way the other stakeholders in this IEP meeting have an opportunity to listen and to modify if need so. It's also important that if conflicts do arise during the meeting, it's important that all team members stay calm, respectful, and do not take any type of conflict as a personal attack. It's important to remember that these parents are parents of a child with some either behavioral, academic, cognitive impairments, and that it can be a very stressful thing coming into a meeting and making sure that you as the parent, are being heard and getting your child's needs met. So it's important for all stakeholders to remain calm, remain respectful, and don't take it personally. It's also important to remember that if, in this case, the LEA is also the principal, so we already have an admin in the meeting, but if for some reason there is not an admin in the meeting, or you need the principal, to go and get the principal or go and get a parent liaison to help explain what is going on with this IEP meeting. If there is a misunderstanding or communication barrier, then you would have needed to invite an interpreter. Those are all tools you can use in order to make sure that parents feel welcome, feel safe, and feel heard. So this concludes my mock IEP introduction video and going over key points in an IEP meeting. Thank you for watching and have a great day.